More often than not, when you're watching Pawn Stars, you usually expect the unexpected, and that is usually an item that you don't think is worth too much turns out to be worth millions of dollars. However, that's not the case, as we're going to be going over some fake items that went down in history. Guys, welcome back to the Film Time channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. However, I want you guys to go ahead and leave a subscribe if you're new. Also leave a like, as it would be greatly appreciated. We're going to keep on bumping these content videos out every single week. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. So first off, we actually have a fake baby rattle. This baby rattle was actually manufactured back around, Rick says, the 1860s to 1890s. The guy comes in saying it's an ancient baby rattle, and he can prove it. He shows the serial date and even the corrosion of the metal. Well, Rick is quick to point out that the serial number does not match up with the older versions, and also there is a timestamp and also a seal on the baby rattle that just looks like it hasn't really been that long ago where before a lot of kids were using it. Still, the dead giveaway is when he has his magnifying glass up and he sees that the corrosion doesn't even match up with the proper corrosion details that something of that stature would end up making. Here, let's take a look at this clip right here, and you guys be the judge.
It's not a silver solder because you can see it turning green right in there.
Really?
Okay, well, here's my opinion of it. It's fake.
Really?
People are faking baby rattles?
People fake everything, okay?
I don't blame Rick at all for not wanting to invest in this. First off, this is kind of like a knick-knack, a random nooks and cranny item where you're not sure if the price you're going to be giving out as a Pawn Star owner, I guess you should say, or a Pawn Store owner, you're not sure if it's going to be the right one. Also, when I buy this item, if I'm a Pawn Star owner, I am not going to be certain if I can sell this item back and get my money back or even make a profit. So I don't blame Rick for passing up on this item. Even though it was pretty darn cool that this one was brought into the shop, I still don't see a use for it. One of the most commonly faked items in all of Pawn Stores history is the Babe Ruth baseball card. This owner comes in with what he believes to be a limited edition Babe Ruth card, as it is the 151st edition that was ever printed. However, when the expert comes in, and Rick decidedly so ends up getting him in there because he has his suspicions, he ends up proving that the card is a fake. First off, they say that the print is not very good, and also that the corrosion on the card wouldn't be as bad as it was, even though it was printed almost 100 years ago. The printers back then that the expert ended up saying weren't that bad, and he thinks that this card is definitely a fake. And just take a look.
Even though the technology was pretty weak back then, it was a lot more clear than what it appears on the Babe Ruth card here. So this is without a doubt a reprint.
I honestly feel bad for this card's owner, as he was that close to $65,000. Still, I guess he is going to have a pretty cool story to tell his children one day, saying, hey, I went on TV and got completely rejected. One of the greatest guitarists to ever live, Jimi Hendrix, ends up finding a place on this episode. A pal, or I guess I should say a family friend, ends up coming in with a piece of unique poetry, a one-of-a-kind piece. He says that he was a promoter for the family and was close friends with Jimi Hendrix. However, he ends up bringing in some poetry that Jimi Hendrix has never even released into one of his songs or even out there to this day. And I think it's pretty cool that this guy had a one-of-a-kind piece. Well, Rick ends up bringing the expert in, and the expert ends up ripping it apart from the start. Just take a look.
Much more flamboyant. The last name seems to be, printed type style. He would always write in cursive. Seen a lot of different problems with it, and I can guarantee you that this is 100% not authentic.
I feel bad for this guy, even though the expert did prove that the, I guess, poetry wasn't real or it wasn't written by Jimi Hendrix. I still think that this guy had a one-of-a-kind piece. Although a lot of artists usually end up changing up their writing style throughout their whole life, that's usually the case with a lot of famous people, as you've seen it in George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and even going as far back as Ulysses S. Grant. As they grow and get more mature, their either handwriting will get more different or flamboyant or simple. It just depends on the person. I think this was the case with Jimi Hendrix. Although the expert did make a few solid points with the ballpoint pen and also his flamboyant signature, I still think this guy had a one-of-a-kind piece. It sucks that he walked away home empty-handed. one of the most famous presidents of all time, and this is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was fatally shot by John Wilkes Booth while watching a play. However, this isn't the case, as this owner ends up bringing a one-of-a-kind, one of the first photographs ever taken of the president. I think this is really cool because if this is the real deal, he ends up actually asking for $1 million, which is a great price asking point. Unfortunately, an expert comes in and just does a facial comparison between the two, ends up ripping apart his theory, saying these are two completely different photographs and these are not an exact replica of what the president and also the first lady would have looked like. What takes a really dark turn is this owner ends up getting very defensive, and he ends up saying he's an expert in photography and facial, comparison. Just take a look at the clip and I'll let you guys decide whether he was wrong or she was.
I don't want to be difficult here, but I feel I'm an expert. I look for other things besides just face. I look at the clothes, I look at the background, I check.
Yes, a lot of people come to me saying that they have...
They'll be coming to me in 10 years. I'm honest to God.
It gets pretty heated between the expert and also the seller, as he claims he is going to be having people come to him to have facial recognition and have these types of things expertised on. But you can clearly tell he's lying, as he gets very, very defensive, as the expert ends up saying she knows the exact way that Abraham Lincoln looked in photos, and he is completely wrong. Still though, it made for an interesting episode, and it was definitely almost a one-of-a-kind find. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, man. Let me know down below if you guys love Pawn Stars and what your favorite parts about Pawn Stars are. I'm signing off. I will see you guys in the next upload.